Good morning. Welcome to Real Talks Dominate Real Estate. It's November 13th, 2020, and I'm Charlie Bengel.
And I'm Eyerusalem Meaza. Grab a cup of coffee and let's make your real estate career better.
Friday the 13th, Eyerusalem.
Friday the 13th, 2020. Stay home today, guys.
I say, you don't want to leave the house. What's in the news today?
So, home prices across the nation continue to defy reason as they sharply headed up, even as the turmoil over a hotly contested presidential election, the coronavirus pandemic, and high unemployment persisted. Unlike during the Great Recession, the median price for single-family homes zoomed up in the third quarter compared with the same period the previous year in every U.S. metro, according to a recent National Association of Realtors report. Prices rose 12% year over year nationally as folks waged bidding wars over a historically low number of properties on the market. Many buyers sought out larger properties to work from home, educate their children, and maintain social distance from others. The report looked at existing homes in 181 metropolitan areas, which include the main city and surrounding suburbs, towns, and smaller urban areas. New home prices were not included. Those prices increased by double digits in roughly two-thirds, or 65% of those metros. Even the cold weather couldn't dampen the hot housing market as the median home price remained at $350,000 in October, according to the most recent Realtor.com data. That's unwelcome news for many buyers who were anticipating another housing meltdown marked by rock bottom home prices. But unlike the last fiscal crisis, when there were many more homes for sale than qualified buyers, the reverse is true this time around. In other news, the National Association of Realtors, a newly released 2020 profile of home buyers and sellers, contains a new section this year that examines how the pandemic is affecting people's attitudes in purchase and sales decisions. This year's report reflects responses from more than 8,000 Americans surveyed between July 2019 and June 2020. The trends emerging among buyers since the pandemic. Number one, multi-generational homes grow in popularity. With people sheltering in places, buyers are showing an increased desire to bring more family members under one roof. Homes are pricier. Those purchasing after March were more likely to purchase a more expensive home, $339,400 compared to the $270,000 for those who purchased before April. Shorter house tenures are expected, while the pandemic driving some purchases that might otherwise have been delayed. It's unsurprising that some buyers see the purchase as a stepping stone. More renters become owners. The pandemic has driven home purchases among those who were renting an apartment or house. Buyers show love to suburbia. Among buyers who purchased between April and June of this year, 57% picked a suburban location compared to 50% of pre-pandemic buyers. Searches speed up. Buyers who purchased after March searched for just 2 weeks before working with an agent. Those who purchased before the pandemic searched for 3 weeks before contacting an agent. Last but not least, certain buying segments grow. While married couples continue to be the largest segment of home buyers, others increased their purchases during the pandemic, particularly unmarried couples and some minority groups. Also, the other 7 trends among sellers since the pandemic. Number one, they're looking to upsize. Homes have felt smaller in the pandemic. Home sellers who sold their home after March were more likely to report the main reason for selling was because their home felt too small. Second, number two, a feeling of urgency. Sellers are more likely to say they feel at least somewhat a sense of urgency to sell their home. Sellers who sold after March were more likely to say they were somewhat urgent in their need to sell their home, 46% compared to 39% of those who sold before April. 3, technology becomes more necessary. There are more contactless methods grew in importance as more homes were listed since the pandemic began. Number 4, incentives haven't disappeared. Despite high buyer demand, sellers entering the market after March also used incentives to help attract buyers. Number 5, equity gains. Home prices have risen since the pandemic, a boon to sellers. Number 6, long-timers appear more motivated to move. 40% of sellers who sold after March had owned their home for 16 years or more, compared to 34% of sellers who sold before April. And number 7, desire to live close to family remains strong. For the second consecutive year, home sellers say a primary motivator to move is so that they can live closer to friends and family. All right, Charlie, what's going on with rates?
Hey, before we go to rates, we mentioned it's Friday the 13th, right?
Yes.
Yes. Did you know that the U.S. economy loses between 800 and 900 million every Friday the 13th due to some people being fearful of this date?
Wow,
This is a real thing. Did you know that according to Zillow, homes with the number 666 and the list price sell for 3% less than their market peers?
Wow.
So this whole superstition thing really does have, it really does have an impact on us. So anyway, let's move on to rates. 30-year fixed rates and jumbo, both at 2 3/4%, FHA 2.5%, VA loans 2.75%. These are purchase rates based on the DC metro market, brought to you by PNC Mortgage. Back over to Eyerusalem.
In the last week in Hampton Roads, we saw 663 new listings hit the market, 667 properties go pending, and 606 properties sold. In the last week in the Washington metro area, within 30 miles of the White House, we saw 1,213 new listings hit the market, 1,586 go pending, and 1,159 homes sold. Back over to Charlie with our special guest.
Thanks again, Eyerusalem. It is my pleasure to welcome Molly Jackson to the show. Good morning, Molly.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's great to see you. Molly works for Children's National Medical Center in Washington, D.C. I think you're now just known as Children's Hospital again. The name keeps changing. But anyway, she's been with them for over a year. She's a graduate of Colgate University, lives in Tacoma Park, Maryland, with her husband and 2 cats. And she says she's just a quasi crazy cat lady, unlike my co-host, who is a full-fledged crazy cat lady. So again, welcome to the show. It's good to see you. We've been supporters of, Children's Miracle Network for many years. I think we raised $1 million for CMN. That's the math that we need to do and have a celebration if that's actually true. Talk to me about what's been going on in your world with the pandemic, because I can't imagine, working with a hospital in 2020.
Yeah, I mean, like everybody, we were hit pretty hard with this pandemic, but fortunately, our team was able to quickly ramp up our efforts and respond quickly. In March, we opened the very first drive-up testing site in the nation solely for kids. And during the first 3 months that we had that testing site open, we tested more than 2,500 kids with an average positive rate of 27%. And early on, we recognized the need to open our doors and accept patients up to the age of 29. Typically, we treat patients up to the age of 21. And that's because we recognize the need to help lighten the load that other hospitals in our region were facing, since initially more adults and the elderly were being impacted by the virus. And our research team is developing at-home testing kits, focusing on T-cell treatment options. They've been studying the impact of COVID for babies in utero, and other critical projects to help us learn more about this disease. There's been a zero transmission of the virus in the walls of our hospital, and so many schools are looking to us for guidance on how to keep students safe. We've been developing trainings and resources for schools to help them make informed decisions to keep their communities healthy this fall. And we are in the recovery phase for the past few months now. We hope to stay that way. We're welcoming patients back for their appointments. I think our peak, we were treating about 17 COVID positive patients. Now it's about 5 to 7. So we're seeing that downward trend, but as we all know, cases keep rising, and we're just kind of praying that we can keep everything under control for the next several months as we move into winter.
Got it. Excellent. Can you talk to me a little bit about the care at Children's National, beyond just the COVID stuff?
Sure. So in December, Children's National will celebrate its 150th birthday. And we had a really big, exciting celebration planned for this past April, but unfortunately, COVID kind of got in the way of that. So we are planning a special 151st birthday next year, fingers crossed. And thanks to our incredible partners, Children's National is the very best place for kids. For the 4th year in a row, we've been ranked as the #1 hospital in the nation for newborn care and among the top 10 hospitals overall. Last year, we cared for more than 237,000 kids, mostly from our region, but we do have families travel to our hospital from around the globe as well. And in 2019, we provided more than $71 million in uncompensated care, and that's because we treat every child who comes through our doors, regardless of insurance or a parent's ability to pay.
Awesome, very good. So talk to me a little bit more about Children's Miracle Network, which is an organization that your hospital is involved in.
Yes, and it gets a little bit confusing about our relationship and our partnership. So Children's Miracle Network Hospitals is a national charity based in Salt Lake City, Utah. It was founded in 1983 to raise funds and awareness for children's hospitals. And today there are 170 member hospitals across the US and in Canada. Children's Miracle Network establishes really incredible corporate partnerships, and the locations and stores of those partners fundraise and activate for their local CMN hospital. So for example, Costco, everybody loves Costco, is one of our CMN partners. They host a register campaign for us every spring, and the Costco warehouses in our region fundraise specifically for Children's National here in Washington, D.C. And that's the wonderful thing about this partnership, is that the funds truly stay local to support your community.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We are also involved in Children's Hospital of the King's Daughters, because we have an office in Virginia Beach, and those agents that support CMN in that region are supporting that hospital. Talk to me about the partnership between RE/MAX and CMN, which has gone back for decades.
Sure, yeah. So RE/MAX became a CMN partner back in 1992. And the RE/MAX leadership team, along with the CMN team, created the Miracle Home program, which allows RE/MAX agents to donate to their local hospital on behalf of their clients. And this program has raised more than, I think, $128 million, which is thanks to year-round donations from Miracle agents like yourselves and many of your agents at your office. And RE/MAX agents and offices also get involved in other ways to support their local CMN hospital throughout the year.
Awesome. So how can we, as RE/MAX agents, support Children's National?
Yes, so as a RE/MAX agent, we have partnered to create this really turnkey program for agents to support their local CMN hospital. Through the Miracle Home program, RE/MAX agents pledge to make a donation after every closed transaction, and these homes are designated as Miracle Homes. And with a minimum donation of $25, we'll send a card to your client letting them know that you've made a donation in their honor. And you can view this card as sort of your closing gift or a housewarming gift to your client, and it truly goes a long way. I've heard some great feedback from agents whose clients will reach out once they receive that card and share their story about how their families experience being at Children's National or at another hospital, and how much it meant to them to see that their agent was supporting our local kids. And participating in the Miracle Home program is a great way to set yourself apart from your competition. Research shows that consumers prefer to do business with philanthropic companies, and it's been shown to improve repeat business and referrals. We also have additional ways to market yourself and your participation in the donation program. We have Miracle Home sign writers and branding marketing materials for your listings. Again, all ways to showcase yourself as giving back and to supporting your community.
Awesome. And for those Allegiance associates that are watching that may not know, those that participate in the Miracle Home program, I have committed to giving away as many Miracle Home sign writers as they want. They don't need to buy those. The company will provide those. And every year, RE/MAX Allegiance is on the Washington Business Journal's most philanthropic corporate list due to our donations to Children's Hospital. Talk to me about, speaking of those donations, how do they help the hospital?
Great question. I know a lot of you are probably curious about, where do your donations go? So your donations help to support our greatest needs. Our hospital relies very heavily on philanthropy in order to provide life-saving care and continue to be one of the top hospitals in the country. Some of our equipment, like our Nice View cameras, which are mini cameras attached to our NICU beds, so that parents, if they can't be with their babies, they can still watch their babies 24/7. Some of these kids are spending months in our hospital, and so it's just a really great piece of equipment to help our parents stay connected to their kids. We also provide many programs at Children's National, our art therapy, music therapy, pet therapy, that really help our kids cope and heal while they're undergoing treatments. Our child life specialists, who are trained professionals who work with our kids to help them understand their illness and treatment and help to ensure that kids can still be kids even if they're in the hospital. They play games and activities to ease their time. We have a group of garden girls, we call them, who host activities outside in our healing garden, again, to help normalize the experience these kids are going through and bring them some joy. And they also work with the siblings of our patients to help them understand what might be going on with their brother or sister. So it's these types of programs and services that aren't covered by insurance or aren't part of our hospital's operating budget, but are so incredibly important to our patients and their families. So your donations truly help us allow us to keep running these programs and continue to be the very best place for kids.
Awesome. Very good. What are some additional ways that our associates can support Children's National?
We have a very exciting opportunity coming up. So all of the Children's Miracle Network hospitals in the Northeast region, from Maine down to Virginia, have banded together to organize a RE/MAX virtual toy drive. We are collecting funds, which will be used to purchase toys and other critical needs at our hospitals. So starting November 16th, I think it is, and running through Christmas Day, agents will have the opportunity to donate to their local CMN hospital as part of this virtual toy drive and help spread some holiday cheer. And you'll also have an opportunity to share this out with your clients, with your networks, if they would also like to make a donation. And that's because our staff this year is really trying to limit the foot traffic in our hospital. Mm-hmm. We're also trying to limit the amount of contact on our toys and items donated to the hospital. So this is just a great way to contribute in a very safe way. So I'll certainly be sharing some more information out with you, Charlie, once we have that ready to go. And in terms of other ways to get involved, we encourage our agents and offices to host community events, more so virtual events for the time being. We also have volunteer opportunities throughout the year. Again, not so much at the moment as we're kind of limiting our number of volunteers at the hospital. But under normal circumstances, we recruit volunteers to work the phones during our radiothons. We host 4 radiothons throughout the year to raise funds, to help sort toys in our Dr. Bear's closet, and other volunteer opportunities. You can also donate blood to our hospital, and there's more information about that on our website. Okay. And you don't need to be a RE/MAX agent to get involved. To anybody out there listening, like if you want to learn more about our hospital or want to learn more about how you can get involved, definitely reach out to us.
Okay, very good. Molly Jackson with Children's Hospital, always good to see you. Appreciate you being on the show this morning. Have a great weekend.
Thank you so much, Charlie, and thank you for your leadership and creating this culture of giving back and supporting our hospital and your community. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's been a great cause. Thanks. I'd like to welcome Amy Lassen to the show. Morning, Amy.
Good morning.
Always good to see you. It's always good to learn about what RE/MAX is doing and what we're doing with CMN, because it's been such a long and amazing partnership, and we've helped so many kids. And I know that your brokerage is involved as well as so many other brokerages are, and it's just a great cause. So it was great to catch up with Molly and learn how they've been dealing with COVID and what's been happening in her world. So to pivot, you and I are beginning our business planning classes next week. Our first one is going to be on Tuesday. And that one is going to be Tuesday afternoon from 2 to 4 on Tuesday, November 17th. And then we have another one coming up in December. That's going to be December 8th. That's going to be our morning session at 9 a.m. So we've already got probably 40 sales associates signed up for these events. We wanted to kind of give a preview of what they can expect, what do they need to prepare for, et cetera, et cetera. So where do you want to start?
Ooh, prepare. That would be incredible. Well, I guess first thing I want to say is I am always ready. I'm always prepared, and I'm always prepared to help everyone, whether or not you prepared. So please don't not come if you didn't do a bunch of homework beforehand, there is still so much you can get out of it. We're going to walk you through it. And I like to do things in plain language and really have them make sense. I personally get overwhelmed by huge dashboards, huge interfaces with too many moving parts. I get lost in the minutia, and then maybe I forget the point of it all. So I like being the guide to make it make sense to everyone. So that would be the encouragement to come no matter what. And I am going to pull up my notes for, here's the things you could prepare if you want to. If you want to be a little bit ahead of the curve. Of course, know your GCI from this year, your gross commission income. And I'm going to explain it because, Charlie, maybe it shouldn't surprise me how many people don't understand what that means. Mm-hmm. The gross is the gross. So if a home was $400,000 and the commission was 3%, that's a $12,000 commission. Right. That's the gross. And when people say, yeah, but I'm on a team, I have a split, or what about my expenses, or things like that, those come out later. I'm not ignoring those, but that's what gross means. So the actual commission that came out of all the transactions you did, what was your gross this year? You probably want to know the difference between buyers and sellers that you did, how many transactions of each. Mm-hmm. That can be helpful. Total sales volume. Some people, I have friends who love to track every little thing. That one I don't use in my business planning, but if you want to have that, it will be helpful to you in general. Your average sales price is a valuable thing. If you don't have it, if you don't know it, if you're newer, by the way, if you're a newer agent or a brand new agent, that doesn't matter. It's not like you can't do business planning, and we can always use MLS average or regional average to give you a start. Your average commission percentage can be an important thing. Charlie, I had a coaching client tell me that it was quite instructive for her to actually do the math and know what her average commission percentage was. And she realized she's at a company that provides a lot of leads, mm-hmm. but the cut is so deep.
Right.
You know, various, Op City and some of those. And she said, wow, did I give up a lot of money and work a lot of deals, at a pretty low commission percentage. Mm-hmm. So that was awakening to her. Where your deals come from, right? Track all your sources of business. And actually, Charlie, now I'm wondering, because we have a form for that, but I guess they could, they could have it on a piece of paper and then they could fill it in on the form we give them. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed to sending the packet to those that register in advance, right? So why don't we take care of that to our production team here? Why don't we send out that, we have the draft, and I think that that's basically a final draft. I'll get that out to you guys, and we can send it out, to everybody maybe today that is signed up for Tuesday. And even if we tweak, the material a little bit, they'll be familiar with it and can do a little bit of homework.
Okay, great. Well, and I'm still in the middle of my homework list, but who else can register? I mean, this show gets seen by people outside your brokerage.
Anybody can register. We've been inviting recruits. This video is going to be sent to 10,000 people today. So anybody that watches this video is certainly welcome to register. And we're going to have a registration link in that email.
Okay, wonderful. And for those of you who don't know me, I love doing business planning. So if you're dreading it at all, come do it with me. It's one of my favorite things. I love it every year. I don't just mean for myself. I love teaching it. I love doing this with agents. So please come and participate. Okay, next thing. So after sources of business, do the best that you can to figure out where your business came from. Total expenses. Then you may go, criminally, I'm not ready for that. I don't have my expenses in order. I understand. Thank heavens for the IRS. They force us to pay attention to how much money we spend.
True.
But if you could get that together, that'd be great. And if this forces you to do it over the weekend, honestly, you'll love yourself if you do it. And then what percentage of that is marketing expenses, or what total of that? So total expenses, marketing expenses, and then ideas for how you want your business to change. The truth of the matter is, if you don't want your business to change, you might not need a business plan.
Yeah, if you're just going to wish, wait, and hope like you've done the last 10 years, and that's your strategy for 2021, and you're good with that, I'm good with that, right? If you're happy with your business, I'm happy for you. But if you're looking to grow and change, then a business planning class makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and the reason I'm emphasizing that is because change, I saw this once as a quote in somebody's email signature. It said, if you want your life to change, your life is going to have to change. And for some reason it struck me like that's the truth of the universe, and how did I not see that coming?
Yeah.
So if you write a business plan, you have to recognize that you're going to have to change the way you work. I think, Charlie, you tell me, one of the most challenging things for me as a coach is to have people sign up for a business coach and then not be willing to change anything they do, but to expect a different outcome. I'm going to increase my transactions.
Yep.
I'm going to take over my neighborhood. I want to do a lot of listings. And then I say, okay, great. Let's talk about the actions to get you there. And they're like, well, no, I'm not comfortable with that. I don't want to do that. I don't have time for that.
Right.
Okay, well, how can we help you?
Yeah. Why are you here?
Right. So, and so maybe this sounds overly simplistic, but I don't think it is. If you write a plan, it's a plan for change. And the action steps behind that intention will have to be followed through on, or the change will not happen.
Agreed. And that's something that we'll certainly be discussing next week, right? We don't want to overcommit and underdeliver, right?
Yes.
So, yep. Good.
So
what else you got?
Well, I think that's it. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. It's going to be 2 hours, right, Charlie?
2 hours, interactive. The expectation is everybody will be on camera. This is not a Zoom webinar. It's a Zoom class. Those of you that are hiding in dark closets, we're going to call you out, right? Just like you would go to any other class, we expect you to show up, remove the bag from your head, be smiling, and we want you. We just don't want to hear ourselves, especially me, drone on. You can listen to Amy all day. She's not boring. But, the idea is people are going to ask questions. We're going to ask questions of the class, right? And make it interactive. And I think this is going to be a great event.
Yep. I'll be there live. I'll be there with bells on.
Awesome. We will see you Tuesday for that event. Have a great weekend.
Great. You too.
Thanks. Back over to Eyerusalem.
Thank you so much for watching, and a happy Friday the 13th.
Take care, everybody.